Hey guys. Hey, Lanier. Nice to see you. It's all good. Beautiful day here in southern New Hampshire. Sun is shining. It's supposed to get a little warm, but nothing crazy. Low 80s. The shop door is open. We'll do a little bit of moving the camera around. But I figured I'd give it a little time for folks to show up. So I'll probably say this again later, but my iPhone, I'm broadcasting from my iPhone today because I want to move the camera around. But also, we're sitting next to the new grinder, and if you guys turn your sound up and listen really close, you will notice. Well, you won't notice. That's the thing. The grinder spindle is on and running. And the grinder is on and running. The hydraulic pump is running. Everything's running. And the magic is I don't have to wear hearing protection. And you can hear me. So the quiet of the new machine is sick. It's ridiculous. So I'm very, very happy. So welcome aboard. I see a new name. Marky. Welcome. So I think this only goes out to followers. So if all you guys are followers, you know what's going on and you know the latest. It was a very busy week. Yes, thank you. I haven't ground one spark yet, but we're getting closer. I'll give you guys the full tour in a few minutes. Give it a little time for folks to show up. But yeah, the new machine is pretty awesome. Pretty excited about it. We had some logistical glitches, so I elected to get the machine sooner rather than wait for the truck to show up, which was super delayed. And I won't get started on opinions about whether that should have happened or not, but because that's in the past. But it's in the past. So how's everybody doing today? We had the tropical storm come up from Florida and beat on us pretty good. But thankfully that was after the new machine was in, and we just kind of battened down the hatches and rode it out. We had several inches of rain in less than 24 hours. And I know some of you guys down south, that's a nothing. So I'll remind you, if you guys have questions, use the question button down on your bar, and that makes it easier for me. All right. Current ETA on Chuck. End of next week. So end of the week. Do I believe it? I'm not so sure. Yeah. Where are you, Lanier? I don't remember. Hey, Trudy's brother. Welcome aboard. Oh, South. Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine you got some of it. Yeah, the whole eastern seaboard got dumped on. But we needed the water, so I'm not really complaining. So let's see. Who wants a quick tour of the machine? I'll do that. I'll do that first. That'll probably engender a bunch of questions. Yes, let's see that new machine. Okay. All right, I'll back up here and give you guys a tour. So we're in my bay 3 of the garage, and this is where I stand. Right here is where I stand to do all my grinding. So let me swap this around. Boom. There it is. So I don't know what happens if I go horizontal. Should we try it? Let's see. Does the universe? Does this work, or do you guys see? I think you guys see weirdness. Hang on. Hey, Adam the Machinist. Welcome. Good morning. All right, we're going to stay vertical here, but so my back is up against my welding cart, so I can't go any further back. But here's the new machine, and yes, it's been adorned with KP logos. The vertical's better. Okay, we're sticking with vertical. So the size is not much different than the Micromaster. It's a little wider. Otherwise, it's about the same. The difference is the control sticks out into the space, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, how much does something like that cost? I knew you'd ask me that. You know what? It's call it $50K. That's close enough. You're looking at $50K worth of stuff. Welcome aboard, guys. So the thing that's nuts about it is the quiet. All right. So I'm talking to you, and the spindle is 10 inches from the microphone right now, and you can't even tell it's running. In fact, the airflow, I think, from the wheel is making more noise than the spindle. So let me show you around the other side. Hey, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, a couple of years of grinding to buy this. So this is what it looks like on the side. This is the electronics cabinet, and you'll notice that it's on casters. So I can grab this thing and move it around. When the machine is delivered, this is bracketed to the grinder, but those brackets are only for shipping. Hi, Dika. So it's on wheels. So I can grab the control and like rotate it around and move it in and out, and that works pretty good. And the reason you can do that is that that flexible conduit, that big boy there, has all of the wiring between the electronics and the main casting. So the reason they do that is for thermal and vibration isolation, so that the fans in this guy don't affect the grinder, the thermals in this guy don't affect the grinder. This guy also is very interesting. It has a very sealed box, the electrical box, and it's got a heat exchanger here. Another thing that's really super cool is Fanuc has put their batteries in a case accessible to the outside. Now keep in mind that my last Fanuc experience was 2008. That's my VMC. So that had the special little battery that you had to open the control and find the little compartment and snap it in and spend $30 on the battery, which is cool. Yeah, so I'll answer try to put your questions in the question button, because otherwise they scroll off. I'll try to answer that linear. So this guy here is the batteries, and I read the nomenclature here, and it says it needs LR20 batteries. So I was fully expecting to have to go find this special LR20 battery. Well, if you look up LR20 battery, it has another name. It's called a D cell. So there's four D cells here for when the battery gets changed, and I'm pretty not pretty. I'm very happy that the industry has gone to a standard battery, outside the box, easy to change. Good work, industry. So so that's the controls. And then over here is the transformer. So this is kind of crazy, because the grinder was designed for the Japanese market. It's a Japanese company. Okamoto is a Japanese company. So the grinder wants 200 volts three-phase. So I take 230 volts single phase. I make 230 volts three-phase with a phase-perfect 10 horsepower converter. And now that guy is feeding this transformer, and that has a tap, 230 input and 200 output. And now that feeds the grinder. So the plan is, and it seems inefficient, and it kind of is. This is you could feel a little warmth on here after a while. I'm going to build a rack that has the transformer on the bottom and the converter up on top, and it'll be on wheels. So that will sit in the corner. It'll free up another chunk of floor space, and that'll be a little nicer. But right now, everything's happy, and it's working. Okay, so leveling pads, right? So it has leveling. It sits on 4 points, which unfortunately, I don't like 4 points. I like 3 points. Who doesn't? And it's got a cast puck. So no, the answer is there's no anti-vibration pads here. If I find that to be a problem, we'll change it. But right now, we're attached to the earth. Also, I was about to post this morning. I found that I had enough room between the coolant tank and the grinder to store the oil, which makes me unreasonably happy in a restricted space environment. So let's see. Any other questions? I'll keep going here. So the electricals were smooth. I haven't measured current draw yet, but it doesn't seem like it's too crazy. The control is pretty cool. Hey, Octane, welcome aboard. And Kaiser, welcome aboard. So the control is pretty cool. This is a straight Fanuc control, and this nice colorful stuff here is Okamoto's overlay on top of the Okamoto control, and I'll do some of that in a few minutes. But otherwise, it's pretty nice. Yeah, thank you, sir. You have your wheel speeds up here, and they have 2 separate speeds for dressing and grinding, which I really like because I use low speed for the diamond wheel for dressing. It gives you an analog. Look at how classy this is. An analog meter for grinding wheel speed and grinding wheel load, which is pretty cool. And apparently it has a limit switch that you can set. This is a little switch, and you can set what you want your grinding load limit to be, and I think it will alarm if you exceed that load. So it's Hey, RR, Randy Richards, welcome aboard. So that's kind of cool. I've never seen that before. We got the alarm reset. So here's the first example of bizarre translation. M/C set. Anybody want to guess what M/C set is? I'll give you a minute. Think about it. Yeah, neither do I. All right. Anybody? 5, 4. McMaster Care. Exactly correct. Adam got it. You push this button and the UPS truck shows up with your McMaster car delivery. So this is the McMaster car button right there. No, that's not what this is. Would you believe this turns on the hydraulics? So if somebody... No. Nice, good guess. BCNC. No. Yeah, you guys tried, but unfortunately none of us are as smart as Fanuc. So if I put a label on here that said hydraulic system, that would be correct. So that's the hydraulic system button. When you turn the system on, it throws an alarm. If everything's perfect, it will have an alarm on until you turn on the hydraulics, and then it'll clear that alarm. So that's interesting. Over here you've got power. The power light is power is available, okay? And then you turn on your controls with this switch here. And then you've got the reference position XYZC. So this is all Fanuc stuff. Cycle complete and program stop. Again, this is all standard right out of the Fanuc control stuff. Standard Fanuc keyboard, standard, Fanucish stuff. And then down here, this is all Okamoto land. And one of the things I love about this machine is these two buttons. So you manually position the table and you push the button, and that's how you set the limits of your table travel. And that's pretty cool. Okay, Lanier, take care. So, and then you have four settings, 4 sets of positions for these. So your table oscillation can happen between 4 different sets of positions. That's kind of neat. And then over here, you do the same thing with your cross-feed position. So you could set the back of the work and the front of the work, and you just program it by setting it manually, putting it where you want it, and then you come over here and you hit the button, and it knows where the work is. So between these two buttons and these two buttons, that gets you the rectangle of your grinding area. So and then over here, we're kind of back to Fanuc land here, right? Single block, op skip, op stop, dry run. This is manual pulse generator interrupt, I think. I'm not sure. And then not sure about this one either. So I got some learning to do here. Of course, your program protect switch, same as on every Fanuc control. So down here, this is actually pretty cool. The old Fanucs that had an analog electric control panel, I think Okamoto kind of standardized that panel, and they brought those switches here. So you could walk up to this machine with a lot of experience on those grinders and start operating this thing without a lot of training. So you can set, jog feed rate override, chuck control. This switch and that is the chuck control. This is your mode select switch. This is again back to the Fanuc control. But here it gets interesting. Rough in-feed amount, fine in-feed amount, fine grind allowance, and how many spark outs do you want. This is pure old school. And actually, it's not terrible. And then you got your cycle start and feed hold for the control. All right, we have a question. No, we don't have a question. All right. So that's the control. Interesting mix of old and new. I like the place for your print, which of course has got my manual on it because I'm walking through all the screens and learning all the settings. And then the hand wheels are all in the right place. So you've got your I'm going to move it for you. This is your vertical hand wheel, and you could do the same thing here that you would do elsewhere, but you could also turn it down from 0.5 thousandth per click, 0.5, 1/10, or 0.1 per click. Isn't that crazy? So you have fine control, and this is the best part, you can turn it off. So if you go walk past it and you hit it, it doesn't do anything. And then on the front is your crossfeed. Again, same thing. You get a gain control, and you have buttons. You can jog in. I'm doing it right now. Jog out with the buttons, and that works. That works great. And again, you can turn this off so you don't hit the MPG. And then finally, the wheel for the table control. It looks pretty standard, right? Then you have a little clutch mechanism here, and this is hard to the right, and it's in manual mode. Okay. Then one click left, and the wheel is now clutched out, and it's under program control, but it's off. And then hard to the left, it's under program control, and it's on. So the program can turn the table on. So we'll leave it on manual for the moment. Hey Chris, welcome aboard. What else? So the coolant system is let me finish over here. So they have a vacuum suck thingy, which I have to make an adapter for, as like I did before, for the vacuum cleaner. So if I want to do dry, hey Chris, if I want to do dry grinding and I want to just use a vacuum cleaner, I'll have an adapter here. But look what they did! Look, a little valve here, so that when you're doing wet grinding, you close the valve. So I solved that problem on the MicroMaster with a little 3D printed cap that sat on there and kept the coolant from flying out. So that's a nice setup. There's the coolant valve. And other interesting thing, if I loosen this guy, or I can't do it right. Yeah, I can do it. If you loosen this guy, you could pull out the connection of the coolant, and you can use this as a washdown hose. Isn't that neat? So that's a pretty slick setup. Now if I could only get it back in with one hand. There we go. All right. Yeah, exactly. Small details. So, honestly, if you take away all the language difficulties in the manual and some of the labeling and stuff, if you ignore all of that, I have found nothing I don't like. So that brings us over to the coolant system. So we have a continuous paper coolant filter. So over here, there's a roll of paper, okay? And there's a little mechanism on the right there. That's the float switch. So basically, when the coolant dumps into the trough here, and it dumps into here, it's dumping on a piece of filter paper that's in a little U shape, and it filters the coolant. But if the filter paper gets clogged and the coolant starts rising, it triggers the float switch, and then it turns on the motor and just pulls out the old filter paper, goes into the bucket, and the new filter paper gets pulled off of the roll, which is pretty slick. So obviously we haven't done anything that would demand it yet, but that works pretty good. So I'll have to be putting an extra roll or two in stock, and that's coming. All right, so that's the beast. Very happy. Any questions, put it in the question button down below. So the end of next week, the mag chuck should show up. Oh, let me show you that. So I said in that it throws an alarm if there's no mag chuck attached to it. So you may have seen my post that I took a 75 watt bulb, incandescent bulb, and wired it into the connector for the mag chuck. Let me show you that. So there's the mag chuck connector. And the machine comes with the connector. So I just wired in the light bulb. So that got rid of the alarm. So the system sensed the light bulb and thought it was, hey guys, put your question in the doodly-doo on the bottom. Hit the little question mark button. I'm going to lose your questions otherwise. Anyway, watch what happens. We turn on our mag. There it is. So this is DC going to the mag, right? That would make the magnetic field. And then if we turn it off and we switch it over to demag, that starts a demagnetization cycle, which is actually it should be damped AC pulses. So let's see what it does here. It starts doing these at different levels, and it looks like 6 pulses of AC, and that helps demagnetize the chuck. So I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, we had a couple of questions. Hang on. What were the main factors that pushed you to the NC version of that grinder versus the DX? I have some NC stuff I want to do. The recipe that I use for grinding the PFG Stones has some subtlety to it, and I wasn't going to be able to do that on a non-NC control. I hope that explains it. There was some complexity that I wanted to capture, and if I tried to do that on a simpler control, it wouldn't work. Besides the fact that, hey, CNC, right? So I have a Fanuc OIMC control on my Sharp, which is over there, and I'm comfortable with it. So yeah, that was the reasoning. Is this a hydrostatic machine or a ball bearing machine? Hydrostatic. It's got scraped ways, and it's being fed on mobile Vectra number 1. So that's the hey Pierre, bonjour. And GPM, welcome aboard. So yeah, that was that's the ways. And again, the ball bearing ways I think wouldn't have been as good for what I want to do. But this machine is a scraped ways. By the way, I did check out the scraping. Okay, yeah, we'll go back to the spindle and the motor. You didn't miss anything. We'll show you that. I did look at the scraping underneath. Hydraulic. Hey, thank you. Let's see if we can spot any. Yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to see it. So that's under the skirt. But when I was at the dealer, I did get in there and I looked at the scraping, and the scraping was molto buono, very nice. So I was very happy with that. And I did consult with the scraping hive mind, and Okamoto's Thailand factory gets very high marks on scraping. All right, you want to talk spindle? Let's talk spindle. So their front piece here, their shield, is plexiglass, which is pretty cool because on the MicroMaster it was a steel thing. So you kind of had to sit up here to observe what was going on, and this is kind of nice. You can kind of see what's going on. We're going to take that off. I got to be careful because this wheel is actually running. So if you're just joining us, this wheel is running right now. So the spindle is running, the machine is running, the hydraulics are on, the cooling fan in the electrical cabinet is on, and I can have a normal conversation. To me, that's like mind-blowing. So, nice wheel housing. This is stainless. I showed you the coolant on the side here. If you're just joining us, this coolant schnozzle, you could loosen this knob, pop it out, and use it as a wash down, which is really kind of cute. Now, watch this. So there's proof that wheel is running, and you just can't hear it. You cannot hear the spindle. You can hear air, but you can't hear the spindle, and that makes me very, very happy. So let's see. That's what the spindle looks like from the top. Okay, and now I'll take you around the back and show you the spindle motor. So there's the spindle motor. And while I'm here, if you look down there, you'll see the lubrication system. So I hope that answers the question. So just to reiterate, this is a hydraulic table. Let's see if I could run it here. There you go. You could just barely hear a little hiss from the hydraulic speed valve. But your microphone is 1 foot from the wheel and 6 inches from the table, and you could hear everything I could hear. So this is the throttle, so we could slow down, speed up. And then if you want to stop it, you can just hit this button. It'll park the table on the side. And I'm just going to disable the table here. Go into manual, and then you could operate it manually. There you go. We have a question. Oh, I think I answered all the questions. So I answered that one. I answered that one. And I answered that one. Cool. So the mag chuck is due end of next week. And that'll be a couple hours of futzing around getting that mounted up. This little guideway here is for the cable for the mag chuck. And there you go. So nobody asked me about PFG stones. So I made enough stones to get me through the couple of weeks anyway, of getting the new grinder up and running. So we do have, I think we have two 6 inchers in stock. I think we have 2 or 3 4 inchers in stock. And we've got, I think, 2 or 3 minis in stock. Everything else is cleaned out. And it'll be a couple of weeks before I am making stones on this machine, but this is going to be a very nice experience. I am absolutely certain. All right. Are you going to replace one of those diamonds with a molly rod? Oh, okay. So let's talk about that. So Okamoto calls this machine a form grinding machine. And what that means is you can go over to the control. Here, I'll show you. You can go over the control and you can say, I want to put a form on my wheel, and you can program all of these shapes, or you can give it G code and do a custom whatever shape you want. And between the control setup here and these 3 diamonds, okay, it will put that shape in your wheel auto-magically. So I may have to sell my my last word radius dressing attachment, which I probably will, by the way. If anybody's looking for a nice last word radius dresser, let me know. So the question was, are you going to replace one of those with a molly rod? Which is an outstanding question. So I don't know exactly. The answer, the short answer is yes. No, the short answer is the molly rod is going to have a home on the table. I don't exactly know how I'm going to do it. It might be a modification. Might be a modification to this guy. I will not replace these, but I might add one. And in the control, you can tell it. You can set up where your dressing things are. And I haven't gotten that far yet. But yeah, the molybdenum will have a place of honor on the side of the table so that the diamond wheel can go over and get kissed. So we'll see what happens. A roto grind extension would fit on that bed. So I make my own, offset plates, I call them. I think there may be other names for it. And I do have, rotary grinding attachments. So there will be rotary grinding done on this grinder. Stay tuned. Should be a lot of fun. So the control is, how do you offset the 3 diamonds position? So you're asking a very good question that I'm not far enough along to answer definitively, but it shows you a picture of the reference point it's looking for, and I think you go over and you learn it. You position the wheel and you hit a button that says learn this position, and that will populate these guys. And then once that's stored and it knows where your dressers are, it can do its thing. So I don't know enough to fully answer your question, but I'm trying here. Let's see. If we go back to the main menu. So let me walk you through what a typical grind would be, okay? Let's say we want to do a, it's called semi-auto grind. This is the simple. So you got 3 levels. Oh, you're welcome, sir. You got 3 levels: semi-auto, full auto, or if you know what you're doing, you know, total Fanuc fanboy. Okay, so the simplest level is this semi-auto. So you just, you know, which one do you want? So the normal grinding is what they call traverse step. So you come over here and you push traverse step, and you fill out the form. Tell me what you want to do, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. And then there's what they call grind condition, which is stuff that is common to all the different grinding styles. So do you want to reference the chuck? Do you want to reference the work? Do you want to go both ways or just from one side? You know, all that kind of stuff. And then over here, you could tell it, hey, I want you to dress the wheel, and I want you to dress this often, and this is how I want you to dress the wheel. So you could have this thing grind away, and then every whatever, I can't remember how you set it up. There's an interval down here. Or I guess it's grinding depth. It will go and dress the wheel automatically on the side, and then it'll keep on going. So that's all you have to do. You set that up, and you hit the button and come over here. Actually, you go into monitor mode. So from here, I'm showing you how much I've learned. To start the party, you hit monitor mode, and this is the screen that you start everything from. And from here, you hit the button, and you have to hit it twice, and off you go. So that's kind of it. So as soon as I get my chuck, I'll do some videos, and I'll show you the basics. I also have 3 days of 3 days of training coming, so that'll be interesting. You can see I'm writing down my questions as I go through the control. So there you go. What a week. It's been crazy. Sharp Edge Engineering, welcome aboard. So that's what's going on here. Happy to show you guys anything else you would like to see. But hey, Adam, are you still with us? I'm not sure if Adam's still. If I kept him awake, it looks like he is. So the difference between Adam's new grinder, which is a Parker Majestic, and this new grinder is that this has a hydraulic table, and Adam's grinder has a ball screw on the table. Oh, don't worry, you didn't miss anything. So that's a big difference. I did not need the ball screw X control, and actually it was contraindicated for my work, but Adam did. So his Parker Majestic has a ball screw in the X. The other thing is, where I have a Fanuc control, oh, it's not a ball screw. Okay, servo controlled tape band. I didn't know that. I thought it was ball screw. Yeah, so there was a ball screw option on this guy, and it was another $12,000. So I couldn't justify it. This guy has a Fanuc control, and Adam's Parker Majestic is a Siemens control. That's another difference. So yeah. So Adam, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm missing the chuck, and I've got a manual chuck, a permanent magnet chuck that I could mount up. I'd have to machine some hold down clamps, and I'm really debating whether I'm going to do that to start, playing around. But any other questions? Anybody have any specific questions you want me to address? You know you want to. Boy, you understand what's going on over here. Yeah, I do want to, but yeah, everything's a trade-off. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm in the middle of shop cleaning after the storm. So this is a 6x18 permanent magnet chuck, which, believe it or not, it came off of the Micromaster. So when I bought the Micromaster, it had this on it, but I didn't. It has a cast aluminum base. I didn't want the cast aluminum base, so I bought another walker. This is a walker. I bought another one off of eBay, and I reconditioned it and ground it in, and that's what's on the Micromaster. So I took this one, and one day I got feeling kind of, feeling my oats, and I decided to grind this guy in. So this guy is ground parallel and ready to work. I think I'm missing the handle, which is not exactly rocket science. So hey, Warren, how are you? So if I wanted to put this on the machine, I would just have to make a couple of clamps. I thought I might have a couple, but I can't find them. So, hey, Ducky, if you're watching and you have any grinder hold-down clamps, let me know. If somebody walked in with a pair, I think I would be required to put this on the grinder. So yeah, if I really decide I have to be grinding like today, I can get this guy set up, but that's sort of a pain. Anyway, any other questions? ¿Hay preguntas? What a nice day. So my current plan is I'm going to sit down and continue working through the control. I've been through the manual, in the weeks before the machine got here, making notes, but I think I need to just punch buttons and make the machine go back and forth. And yeah, I could not be happier so far. Let's see what happens after I get some hours on this thing. I will report. So let's see, it's 12:46. I think we're going to wrap this at 12:50, unless there's questions. In which case we'll do questions. Like I said, cheap commercial coming. Stand by for cheap commercial. PFG Stones are in stock. 6 inches in stock, minis are in stock, and 4-inch are in stock. And when I say in stock, I mean about 2 or 3 of each. And that should get me through the next couple of weeks before this guy is producing. And I don't know if you guys probably don't know where the old grinder went. It literally went 5 miles away. So the Micromaster is in a very happy garage shop 5 miles away, and the Micromaster is already powered up. I already has a wheel on it, and I don't know if the first sparks were made, but they will be. So the Micromaster has a happy home. And just for reference, the cost of rebuilding the spindle on the Micromaster is about the same as what I sold it for. So the new owner is fully aware of everything, and one of these days, if he wants to do the spindle, he can do it. But it's still turning out great work, so he's got plenty of months and years before he has to do that. And the whole time we've been talking, that spindle is running. And I can't believe it. It's just too good to be true. So there you go. All right, last call. Any snarky questions? Well, there you go, guys. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody is having a quiet Sunday, maybe at home with your family, maybe in the shop. Where did you get your tarp? Believe it or not, the tarp between bays, let me show you what he's talking about. Sharp eye there, buddy. So that, there's 2 of them. They're identical. So I've got 2 lines strung up from the lolly column. There's one curtain and there's another line, and there's a second curtain which is pulled back at the moment. When we're all done futzing around here, that'll be pulled. And for obvious reasons, we just try to keep any grinder stuff, you know, out of that side of the shop. Those are welding. They're welding curtains. They're clear welding curtains. Let's see if I can spot a label for you. Like all good things. It's your lucky day. So that's Wilson Industries Incorporated, California. This is I don't have a part number, but you'll never guess where I bought them. McMaster car. So they look like they're 6 foot by, I don't know, 6 by 8 feet, I think. And that's it. You could use anything, obviously, but we just wanted to keep the grinder grid in here, and over here is the Department of Welding department. So all of the kind of, you know, messy stuff is kind of over here. Although my grinding is not very messy, so. And if I have a lot of heavy grinding to do, or I should say, if I have a lot of heavy welding grinding to do, I go outside right there. Okay, it's 12:50. Last call for questions, snarky comments, bad jokes, and then we're going to wrap it. Thanks for being here, guys. You are a continuous source of information and inspiration, and I will continue sharing what's going on here. Have an awesome Sunday. And today we will end with our closing image. Yeah, only one of those 4 things should you do. Take care. Have a great day, everyone.